And naturally, I became that guy with camera all the time. It was always with me. It's not just like taking photos of graduates. It's more like I'll take a deep dive into their story. At that time, it was passion. I was like, ooh, I get the opportunity to tell someone's story. Why not? Now I can say is like, you kind of need to put your value first. Even if you say no, other opportunities going to come. Yeah, so I was able to capture a lot of the behind the scenes moment, not just like a high peak moment, but also the human emotions that go to the sideline. It's like, okay, this is my path. I'm the historian of the team. My aunt always told me that still is engraved in my heart is you're not capturing like the moments or anything, you're capturing someone's soul. My job is to humanize players. And that mission was like a big for me. That's what I wanted the whole time, and I finally have it. And I'm really touching up on my Korean side. My biggest fear was kind of being different. It needs to not be quiet anymore in terms of my Korean identity. Nothing has to be perfect. Like, it's not about being perfect. It's really about doing the things that makes you happy, but also help you grow.
Joe, welcome to Korea.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome, man. Thank you for coming to the Quiet Truth podcast.
Such an honor to be here. It was a very last minute. I believe in some kind of timing, and somehow it all worked out, and I'm sitting here. So
yeah, it sure did. It's a lot different than a year ago, right?
Definitely, yeah.
Absolutely. Well, like I said, welcome to the Quiet Truth podcast, where we tell very compelling stories about people's life's journeys, their market niches, their industry niches, and unraveling all the journey in the process to who you are now. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you. Again, thanks for coming to the show. So we do give introductions for everybody. So let me give some cool facts and cool achievements and cool industry facts about you. Okay, here we go. First, his grandfather is Yang Myung-sik, one of Korea's first movie directors, taught the art of storytelling, and he also introduced the musical film concept to Korea. Wow, that's really cool. Didn't know that about you. Also, really cool fact, 14th heir of Admiral Na-Dae-young, inventor of the turtle shell. Wow. I always see that at the Korean War Museum when I take all my friends out here. Amazing. We're going to dive into that a little bit. Now, for your professional accolades, you were the photographer for the Oakland Raiders. And then because of that, you transitioned to Antonio Brown's personal photographer. And then outside of NFL, you became the manager of live content for MLB. And because of that, you've done Ohtani's brand campaigns, many brand campaigns for MLB. And on the Korean side, which is I'm proud of too, is you did Ha Sung Kim New Balance brand deal as well for videos. Also, a really cool feature is you also were featured by Instagram at the early stage. I'm assuming when Instagram first popped up, right?
Yeah, this was 2013 in the early stage.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's pretty early.
But that gave me a lot of recognitions. It was just random thing that happened that it had a big influence on all the power of social media. So
power of social media, absolutely. I had no idea that about that as well, even though we talked a lot, during the last couple days, about a year ago. And he's also traveled to 47 different countries for photography and videography projects all around the world. Welcome, Jonah, to The Quiet Truth.
Thank you.
Awesome. So we have to definitely go back to your inspiration. And I think you know what I'm going to touch here, your grandfather, right?
Yep.
So please tell us how he influenced you, and because he was Korea's first movie directors, one of Korea's first movie directors here. So, look at what you're doing now. So please tell us about that.
Yeah. I am fortunate enough to have two both amazing grandparents on both sides. I think they were pioneers in their own way. But I think I spent more time with my grandpa on my mom's side, who had a big influence on my creative journey. Also, like, as like, I guess I'm 1.5 generation.
Yeah,
where I
yeah.
kind of go through two different parts of the culture.
Mm-hmm.
He had like a big impact on my early days when I was kind of struggling, trying to find my identity in living in America as Korean American, because early on I had some language barrier problem when I went back to the States.
Okay.
And
When did you go back to the States?
so I was born in LA, but I spent my elementary year in Korea, because my grandparents, my mom, my dad's side wanted me to speak Korean and be actual Korean.
Yeah.
And then in my middle school, I went back to the States, and that's where my grandpa, my mom's side, was staying.
So your grandpa was already retired and back there?
Yes.
Already?
And so they were settled in Oakland, California.
Oakland?
And
okay.
so I was living there and didn't have that many friends because I was constantly moving schools. But one thing that was consistently that was there for me was cameras. My
Gotcha.
grandpa's cameras.
Oh, wow.
And he...
Legendary.
You know, when you go on family trips, there's always someone recording with camcorders,
Correct,
right?
right.
Yeah. But my grandpa was that person, but also he was an editor. So he would edit all his family trips.
Wow.
And I had nothing else to do but just watch him edit. And at the early age, I was just like kind of watching how he would just make family videos.
Observation, shadowing, I guess, naturally.
And yeah, and naturally I became that guy with camera all the time. It was always with me.
So that was your inspiration for sure through
And
family. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think it is necessary for me to kind of take a deep dive into who he was.
Please do. Fascinating.
So his story is like a movie almost. And he had a passion for music. That was his first love. And age 19, he was one of the first conductor in high school level where he was leading a symphony like orchestra.
Oh, wow.
He told me that he could play 19 different instruments. In terms of he had to understand how it sounded, so he had to like really take a deep dive into it. He was a really passionate guy until the war broke out, and then kind of things changed.
Of course.
And then he met my grandma, who was a only daughter of a military family.
Okay.
So
wow.
in order to kind of, win her heart or her father's heart, he had to join the military. So he joined the Naval Academy, and then he had to go through law school because that was also a prerequisite to date my grandma.
Oh my.
So he gave up his music naturally just to kind of pursue that.
Gave up his music so he could pursue the love of his life.
Basically.
Who he married.
Yep.
Now, it seems like on your, was it dad's side then? Dad's side's grandfather? Or that, mom's side.
Yeah, so it was my mom's side, yeah.
My mom's side's grandfather, okay. And you said military family, right?
Yeah, so my mom's side, my grandma is, from the military side.
Military side. And so great grandpa, like what do you know what kind of level he was in?
He was overseeing the whole police force at that time.
The whole police force at the time.
So there are like black and white photos of them traveling in the states, kind of checking out, which is kind of like a full circle moment now that I live in the state, like New York. There's like a photo of him standing in like streets of New York. You can see the Empire State Building.
And this like probably has to be what, 1940s?
This is like 1930s.
30s and 40s? Oh my gosh.
Really back in the day.
Right after war and during war.
Yeah. So yeah, my grandpa kind of went, my mom's side, went through that. And then somehow he fell in love with filming, and he started kind of working his way into, like, as a law school graduate, he was kind of transitioning into filmmaker because he had a passion for art.
Yeah, awesome.
And then he later turned to be the right-hand man of Shim Sang-ok 감독, which is very famous movie director here in Korea. And this is before he got kidnapped to North Korea and all that. It's a crazy story.
Right.
Yeah, but so he was like there's so many photos of him doing a deep director of photography. He was like the audio person. He was directing everything. And then he somehow found a merge between music because he still had a love for music. And then one of his first movie that he produced was a musical movie, and that was first of its kind in Korean movie.
Wow.
So,
do you remember what it was called?
I gotta check the neighbor.
We're
Sorry,
going to
Grandpa.
put it we're
Yeah,
gonna put
it's
it
like
up here
right
somewhere
here.
or
Yeah.
there. Okay, right by you, not by me.
Right
Maybe
here.
here.
Yeah.
We'll see. Amazing. We gotta provide that legacy there. So
Yeah.
please, guys, let's find all that information at the very beginning. It's legacy stuff. So
Yeah, and then throughout his career, he was doing that. But the problem was Korea was going through war, post-war time frame.
correct. Yeah.
So Korea, like people were too poor to afford a meal at that time. So there was like a little bit of lack of kind of or not being able to appreciate art. So in a way, his peak was a little in the off timing with how the country was at that time. But he made a transition into going to art school, and then he was teaching and mentoring like actors and actresses.
Wow. Do you know any? Can you name drop?
Gosh, it was so long ago. But I remember I was watching drama with him, and he would point out, "Oh, I used to teach him like things like that."
Awesome.
I'll get back to it. There's one guy that I can just think of right now, but just I forgot his name.
Got it.
Butcher it.
Does he does he still live in Oakland, or is he here now?
Oh, so he sadly passed away in 2014.
Oh, I'm so sorry about that.
But yeah, he was just like had a big influence, like in me in terms of like also like his love for everything. He
Yeah.
also was
Seems
one
like
that
that.
taught me how to cook.
Oh wow.
So my grandma, given an only daughter, she had a very spoiled life. Sorry, grandma, but my grandpa was like the caretaker, so he
Yeah.
would cook for her every meal. He would naturally cook for me,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
then aside from camera work, I also learned how to cook because of him. So
So it seems like he was not only just a grandfather that you looked up to, and who had just inspired you. He was also kind of like your second dad, almost, right?
yeah, I think I spent the most important years of my life, like I would say middle school through high school.
Yeah. So
Where-
let's dive on that really quick then, because you said you were having trouble adjusting with identity, with language, and you said your grandfather really helped you with that. So how did he help you with that? What were some difficulties you were going through that he was really there for you for?
Yeah, I think I was at a really weird. I think it could be for a lot of Korean Americans where, you know, when your parents remain in Korea and then you're kind of away from everyone. But like America didn't feel like a foreign place because I was born there, I have some memories there. But like I had the full elementary time in Korean, and then now I'm like making transition into American,
Right.
or like English. So I got to kind of I struggle kind of in both worlds. So I need to kind of I had some problem with my identity. Like how do I kind of, who am I? Like what, like how do I see the world?
Yeah. So when you ask that question to yourself, like, who am I? Struggling with identity. What parts about identity did you struggle with? Was it a cultural point between being Korean to American? Or was it literally you're just kind of lost of like putting a label on your personality?
I think it's a label and personality almost, but also like inside that, like there are a lot of like internal thoughts is in Korean, but when I'm like outside, like I have to kind of turn on the American version of myself.
Correct.
And then I had to go back and forth. But at the same time, during that process of going back and forth, like I'm like, what am I doing right now?
Yeah,
you know?
I
Like,
got it.
Like, how do I like navigate my own internal thoughts when I'm kind of trying to find my identity?
Got you.
Processing the daily task.
And, you know, your grandpa knew how to storytell, right? And he also transitioned to, you know, from Korea to Oakland, right? Why did he do that?
That was his retirement plan. I think my aunt went to Berkeley, and she during that process she settled in California, and my grandpa kind of just wanted to kind of just
Got it.
leave, and then yeah, that's what kind of naturally happened.
Since he immigrated there before, so he probably already went through their whole entire process, went through their whole entire struggles. Kind of a situation. He goes through the struggles to where you don't. I think that's what a good mentor should have in their mentality.
Yeah.
So how did he apply that mentality, and then how did he take care of you?
You know, it still puzzles me that my grandparents or my parents
Yes.
don't really speak a word of English, but still somehow they settle. They send me to school.
I know, that's
They
crazy.
put all the taxes. They put all the paperwork in. I'm just like, you guys
how?
didn't have Google back then. How do you guys do it?
Right.
But I think it was just like art of not caring, you know,
Mm-hmm.
or not. I don't know if I can cuss here, but not giving a f, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's kind
You
of
can
like
cuss here.
good,
Not
All
giving a
right.
fuck. Okay.
Yeah,
You're good.
I think it's. I think it's one of the things I struggle with.
Mm-hmm.
It's like I care too much in a way,
Mm-hmm.
but you just gotta kind of know what your purpose is and just get to it.
So that's what he taught you?
I think so. Yeah.
Just do natural observation because you were a shadower, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
So he kind of knew what he wanted from the get go, and he would just get it, and he would get it done.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's why he was able to do so many different things in life, where he's just, you know, whether he's making a meal for my family, or making a movie, or like maybe making like a family videos.
Mm-hmm.
And one of his hobbies was he would just like he has 2 VHS system. It was VHS days. If you didn't know,
VHS days.
It's like a little plastic thing that films.
We'll put a caption for the Gen Zers. I think our PDs too probably don't know what VHS is.
And then he would record off the screen of like Japanese TV shows because he was fluent in Japanese through the colonization. So he would just like record like Japanese drama or like TV shows, and then somehow he would mash it up together. It was like a kind of weird to me at that time, but
Yeah,
now
yeah.
that I'm kind of reflecting on it, it was his like kind of mental exercise of like he only captures the best part or like the kind of really scenic portion, and then he would just capture it in one videotape.
Oh wow. Don't even know. We're not even touched on that, but you
Yeah.
respect the art now.
Yeah,
so.
so like I see him doing that pretty much every day, late at night. He was a night owl.
Most creative people are.
Yeah, and I see him sitting in the corner and just like in his zone, and that was like kind of like and I see that I was like, okay, like he has, like he, at that time I didn't really fully understand what he was doing, but I knew he loved it, and I think that kind of gave me purpose. Oh, I gotta kind of do what I love,
There you go.
and I think that was like a big thing.
Instead of trying to really figure out your identity, your passion, you develop your passion through your grandfather's influence, and that's how you became who you are today, right?
Yeah.
Is you love your passion, and you literally learned it from your family, and photography and video became your thing, right?
Yeah.
So let's touch on that. So your professional career,
Yeah.
yeah, a professional career now. Your beginning of your career. Tell us about the beginning, the very, very beginning of when. Maybe let's reflect back to when you got your first professional gig, or maybe the struggles. Actually, let's do this: the struggles of you being a freelance photographer, because in film industry, it's hard.
Yeah.
Freelance photography is hard. Getting gigs are hard. So, yeah, let's talk about that.
I definitely burnt out a little too much in my career out of passion. So I studied visual communications at UC Davis because I was really into creating something. And then during my study abroad program in London, coincidentally, that was during the London Olympics. So I was kind of in the scene of a whole like global events side of things. I got to see the behind the scenes of it and realize, oh, maybe I should just stick with photography, because to me at that time it was hobby. So, but I realized that like the type of impact that I can have with a simple photo of someone like that can move the needles. I kind of saw the magic through like taking photos of people that I was with and all that. And then naturally I was like, okay, maybe I should turn this hobby into passion. And then later that passion kind of brought in more money and then turned into profession because I need to make money after college.
Got it. So, what was that transition point when the hobby turned into a profession, where you're consistently getting gigs?
Yeah, so I had to create this new business model, and I've noticed everyone was taking graduation photos at my school.
Start out doing grad
Yeah.
photos.
And I can take pride in that I kind of changed the way people take photos.
Yeah.
Not necessarily everyone takes photos, but the location. So I was kind of like, UC Davis is a beautiful campus. Like has like trees, like it's the most bikeable city, town in the U.S. Has the most bike outside of Amsterdam, pretty much.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was kind of getting a lot of the scenics that I incorporated into storytelling by, it's not just like taking photos of graduates, it's more like I'll take a deep dive into their story. So I'll be like, hey, what did you major? Where's your favorite, like, what's your favorite memory of your school experience? So like, for example, this girl was like, oh, I spent a lot of time in this lab. Then I'm like, let's go into the lab. So
I see.
A lot of the photos were about personalized on like their experience versus kind of like a pretty
Studio
thing.
portraits.
Yeah. So I kind of incorporated into like a basic photo of just him holding like this, standing next to the sign, to going into their environment, going into their stories, and then kind of capturing it.
Got it.
So yeah, it was very profitable business at that time. It was a lot of money. Like I think I made like close to 12 grand in 1 month.
Oh, wow.
As a college student,
As a college student, that's
I was like,
nuts.
whoa, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, and then naturally that made a transition into, I found this PR person in Sacramento where he had a lot of small businesses that needed photos and video. So right after I graduated from college, that's where I took a dive into. So whether it's like a small like gym to small like restaurant, any type of business that needed photos and videos, I was there, and I basically was doing for free, because I kind of at that time was passionate. I was like, ooh, I get the opportunity to tell someone's story. Why not? So I was doing tons of interviews, ton of product shots, like restaurants. I made a deal, so I show up once a week because they have different menu. Then I take photos and I keep the food. You know, just like kind of trying to survive.
Exactly. So at the same time, you need to build your resume into videography then, right?
Yeah.
So what was your most memorable point? When you said you were doing a lot of things for free during that time, right? So I'm sure must have been when you were changing from photography to videography. What was one of your most memorable points there? Like a good point.
I think naturally I did both, but I realized that video is the future, because there is a sound element, there is like a motion element, there's so many different elements that people needed, and I kind of felt that need more through wedding photography out of all things, because wedding, naturally everyone needs wedding photographer, everyone gets married, right? And there's one aspect that I realized was like photos are great, but seeing that moment in kind of real life format through like a video and motion stills, like that's where it really kind of captures that moment. So when I was asked to do wedding photography, I was like, oh, I got to do both. So I assembled a team of friends through my freelance career, and we formed like a little pact, and I kind of turn into wedding business as like my kind of like a weekend hustle.
Yeah.
And ended up shooting. It was a little too much. I think I mentioned burnout before.
Yeah, you did.
I was shooting like 40 weddings a year for like 5 years spent. So that's every other weekend.
Exactly, dude.
Money was good.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like creatively, I was just like kind of
week by week, got to think about something different because you're a storyteller. I just heard like you get into people's hobbies, you get into their interest, you take the photo, and that exuberates that.
Yeah.
So wedding photography and video. Oh my gosh.
So wedding was same thing. It was like I added that extra layer.
Yes.
So I was like, what's your story? And like engagement photo was a must for my package because I wanted to get them to know more. So like their engagement photos was more about like their personal experience, like special place in their hearts, and like kind of just anything that where their love began. And then that kind of translated into the final product of my wedding content. So yeah, so I did that both while freelancing during the weekdays.
Dang.
And yeah, I don't think I thought of sports at that time. But yeah, I was making a lot of money. I was making a lot of opportunities to travel around the world because of that, whether it was for a wedding or kind of commercial gig.
How did you travel around the world for wedding gigs?
People just love getting married abroad, and
and they would pay for everything, right? Like you wouldn't just take the feed and like pay everything yourself. You like that was included.
Yeah,
right?
so like I mean, I had to like lower the price and make some adjustment, but at the same time, like, yeah, I think with my prior travel experience, like people kind of saw the value in that. Oh yeah, this person like Joe's been to Thailand before, so why not hire Joe, kind of thing. And yeah, so I went to Thailand pretty much every year. From California, which is not a close distance.
Oh no, not at all.
But yeah, so or I'll go to Mexico, or I'll go to like London, like yeah. So like along the way, I was just not just go for the wedding, but I'll find other business opportunity through my network or like friends, and then yeah, I find like small gig, and then I'll stay there like few like months out of the time.
Oh, I
just,
see. It's
yeah.
a few months out of the time.
Yeah, I mean, because like I was kind of like a nomad in a way.
Yeah, where did you stay outside the country for a few months?
Lots of hostel, friends' couch surfing. Yeah, just wherever I could.
Just wherever you could outside of U.S.
Yeah.
So consistently, you were just traveling to different countries and doing photos.
So yeah, there's through 2014 through 17, I was pretty much like sleeping wherever I could.
And were you done with wedding videos then? During those 3 years?
I officially stopped in 2018, but 17 was when I was like, well, I'm gonna stop booking weddings.
Yeah.
And luckily, one of the events that I volunteered happened to be the Raiders fundraiser event.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, as a volunteer photographer, I was just like going crazy because I'm a Raiders guy. I grew up 5 minutes away from the Raiders facility.
I see. I'm from Kansas City, right?
Yeah.
So kind of that kind of rivalry, right?
Yeah.
When I'm Marty Schottenheimer,
Yeah. Good old days.
Good old
yeah.
Joe Montana days, But
Yeah.
anyways,
yeah, it takes a lot of gut to be a Raiders fan.
It does.
But yeah, my love for Raiders was, it was the dream team. And I remember there are times where I would just I would just go on their website and watch all their practice photos because every team posts their practice photo daily during the season.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I was like, one day I would take those photos. That was kind of my mind. But that fundraiser moment, the moment I heard it was Raiders, I was like, ooh, sign me up.
Sign you up.
Yeah.
Volunteer.
I volunteered. And I'm at that, when I found out it was a day before and I was in LA at that time.
How did you find out?
Through the PR guy that I worked in Sacramento.
So who kind of mentored you to all those other projects?
Yeah.
So you've developed a great relationship, because you said 2018, so that's been probably over a decade of a relationship.
So that was 2015 when I had that moment.
2015 for.
So I drove up from LA just to make it to that event, and then I took photos, and there was one moment where Mark Davis, the owner, wanted like a group photo, and then with Fred Belenikov, which is a Hall of Fame wide receiver, and I happened to be at the right place, right time, took that photo, and yeah, and the PR director really loved it. A PR director from the Raiders loved it.
Yep.
And then he got my contact info, and then one of the designers also who used my photos was like, hey, like, what do you do for a living? And I was like, oh, just freelance, and I shoot weddings, commercials. And he was like, do you want to work for us next season as a contractor? And I was like, yeah, sure. And I was just dying inside, no way. I had to like hide the fan element, obviously.
Obviously. It was just hard to do at times.
Yeah. And then, so they invited me, and then I showed up and started taking marketing photos at the game. My first game there, like my main job was to kind of take photos of any fan element, any just like anything that helps the organization, pretty much.
Yeah.
But for me, that was like, whoa, this is like my Super Bowl moment.
Of course, not only just as a fan, but as an Oakland citizen, then my point, there's one question I want to ask. You were doing wedding photos for money, right? You were doing graduation photos for money, couch surfing for money, and experiences. Basically, you really didn't do anything free until you got your first step into videography.
Yeah.
What's the point for these future videographers or entrepreneurs out there? What's the point of when you knew to do something for free and not to do something for free?
It's a huge gray line.
Exactly. Like, what was your point, though?
But I think my point is you have to do what you got to do. I think everyone has different phase of life where you kind of need to really reach out. But at the same time, the longer I'm in the industry, I see the kind of the negative side of that, which really enables other big brands to really take advantage of you.
Correct. Yes.
So I think the main point is like you have to see the opportunity as kind of face value and be like, at least there got to be minimum that I can charge. Because yes, free work is great, but especially compared to back in the day and now, it's way too saturated. There are way too many like opportunities, but also there's way too many same type of creatives who's trying to do the same exact thing.
Yeah, got you.
So, but at the same time, networking opportunity is also very tough. I have like, there's so many levels of like kind of, oh, it feels right, but it feels wrong. Like it's a very kind of gray area. But now I can say is like, you kind of need to put your value first. Because like, even if you say no, other opportunity is going to come.
Yeah, because like if you said no and if you didn't volunteer for the Raiders that day, who knows if you would have still worked with them, right?
Yeah. It's hard because like, let's say somebody offers me an opportunity to cover Super Bowl, but has to be free. Like, what do you do, right?
What do you
Like,
do? Especially if you've already done NFL or let's say ATL brands or big legacy brands, then I think I would charge something. But if I haven't, then that's where you kind of utilize the Korean word nunchi
Yeah.
into kind of for yourself. And, oh, this is going to elevate me. Should I just do this one for free? Or how you negotiate is key, right? Yeah. But
It's
you
hard.
got into it, man. You got volunteered, and the PR agent, publicist, right?
Yeah.
Reached out to you, and then you worked as a contractor for the next year for the Oakland Raiders, right?
Yeah. I mean,
That's amazing.
It's kind of like, it's hard to justify at that very moment. But when you look back at it, I'm like, yeah, it's mainly because I did this.
Exactly.
And I think it was possible because I was young too.
That is true.
Yeah.
You were young, but you were very entrepreneurship / producer mentality. Because you said when you were doing wedding videos, you had a tight knit crew. You put that together,
Yeah.
right? When you wanted to do lifestyle photography and travel all around the world, you did it, right? You figured out a way and you strategize on how to put yourself in positions, even though if it's hostile or if it's couch surfing. And that's how you got your gigs. You straight up entrepreneured yourself. And that was an entrepreneurial decision. That's what I see it as, right? So because of that, now when you were contracted with the Oakland Raiders, did you say no more wedding photography? And did you go all in?
Not like dramatically, but gradually I was kind of leaning towards it. So after I started doing marketing photos for them, I met the assistant photographer at that time.
Okay.
Now he is overseeing the production for Chicago Bears.
Nice.
But he also kind of helped me because like he saw my portfolio and he's like, oh yeah, he can definitely do sports. Because like one thing I forgot to mention was like when I was doing freelance on my free time, I'll go back to UC Davis or my high school and I'll just take photos and I provide photos because I just love the sports. So when the time was right, my portfolio was kind of ready.
I got it.
Yeah,
Okay.
so he was like, you know, like you should probably to start taking photos of the game. And then I was like, okay, maybe one day, you know. And then during one preseason game, it was like the third preseason game, so like no one really cared at that point. So my team photographer was like, you know what, like shoot the game. It's the fourth quarter, just shoot the game. So I started taking photos, and then the very next day, I got a phone call from him. He was like, hey, I'm looking through your photos and like I really like your work. And I was like, oh, thank you. Like I was kind of like, oh,
Ecstatic in a way, right? Right? Yeah.
Yeah.
That's dope.
So that was like kind of like a turning point. That was 2016, and that was like the best season Raiders ever had. Derek Carr, just great year until he broke his leg and all.
Yeah, I'm a KC fan, so keep on going.
But yeah,
I'm listening.
it was so it was a big season for them, and I was part of that big season, and I was kind of capturing to the point where I was assigned to cover the team sideline,
Oh, nice.
which is kind of like a big moment because you
That is a
have
big
to
moment.
capture not just a game, but you have to capture what's going on the sideline.
The atmosphere, the behind the scenes, like right before a big play happens, right before a big mistake happens, right? The energy when they do have a touchdown, or the play, the defensive coordinator, the offensive coordinator set everything up, right?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh,
So
amazing.
For me, I was like, whoa, like I'm here.
Yeah,
moment. Like there was like one moment where like the security guards kind of like talked about me in terms of like, oh yeah, he's allowed to take photos here. All the rest of media, they cannot take photos. So I'm like, oh yeah, they're trusting me with that access.
Dude, that's awesome.
Yeah, so I was able to capture a lot of the behind the scenes moment, not just like a high peak moment, but also like just like, you know, the human emotions that go on the sideline. And yeah, that was beautiful. And I was on cloud nine basically. And
Yeah,
then from
oh
that
my
point,
gosh.
I was like, okay, this is my path. Like, I want to be here and I want to do more of this.
Awesome. So when you transitioned out and you got all those opportunities, what did you learn from doing sports photography?
You know, it's very extravagant, like flashy job,
Yeah,
right?
explain
From the outside.
flashy.
You know, you get to be at a sports game, especially for like one of the major sports in the world, like in terms of like having that kind of access and being able to capture. Like from the outside, it's like, whoa, you have a really cool job.
Absolutely.
And in a way, I'm very guilty of I kind of turned into influencer in a way in the early on because like I was like, yeah, I'm like everything I post on social media, people just go crazy about it, right?
Yeah.
And then there was one moment where like we're losing the game and I was kind of capturing like a kind of losing emotions and all, and then kind of gave me like a realization that it was a terrible season too. It was like not a good season, so mood was down. But I realized that given that it was the last year in Oakland, it's like, oh, I'm the historian of the team. You know, it's not just about like peak moment, but also I'm capturing whatever history.
Yes.
Yeah. So like whatever I capture it's not necessarily about like looking good, best composition or anything, but it's like what kind of story am I telling? And like looking back, yes, there's a photo of like player walking off, but it could be that player's last moment leaving that stadium,
I'm
right?
glad that you said that. Yes.
So like I think I had like a realization, and my aunt was like she was like my biggest fan, and she always kind of told me that still is engraved in my heart is you're not capturing like the moments or anything, you're capturing someone's soul. And that kind of stuck with me.
Wow.
So
Dude, I just got chills because as a former athlete myself as well, I just reflected to my moments when I was done, when I had to retire, when I walked off the baseball field. I remember all those emotions, but please go ahead, Jesus. Yeah.
Yeah. So and that really kind of gave me it was like a breath of fresh air because I was looking for like a high peak moments and things like that. But now I'm like paying attention to the details.
Yeah.
And that naturally, as one of my niche, in my opinion, is I shoot everything very tight. I like if I have to shoot, like I don't show the full body. I'd rather show like close up as possible to the face.
Gotcha.
And that kind of gave me like a new ways of seeing things, like attention to the details in a high peak moment, in high action moment. It's not the easiest, but also at the same time that kind of became my kind of like a trademark in terms of storytelling.
Yeah, trademark and storytelling because you're captivating the moment, the feature, the real impactful emotion of that athlete's mentality during the play or the result of the play, good or bad, right?
Yeah.
So I think it's not just about taking the shot. It's about exuding the emotion, exuding the soul. Exactly. Can you repeat what your aunt said again? That was amazing.
Yeah, so you're not capturing the moment, but you're capturing one's soul.
Exactly. I think that's a great philosophy to live by, especially if you're in TV, film, or anything media. It's all about capturing the soul. And wow, dude, this is the reason why we're doing what we're doing is to capture the soul, literally.
Yeah.
So amazing. So now from all that you experienced and learned, why Antonio Brown?
Yeah, that's a kind of funny one.
Yeah.
At the same time, that was kind of funny transition for me because my dream was to live in New York.
Okay.
That was so. While I was working for Raiders, I was kind of interviewing with different companies, and Barclays Bank had an opportunity to interview with them, and they offered me a job. So I was at the very road where I was like, "Ooh, I'm about to like quit, drop whatever I have here, and move to pursue my life somewhere else, just change the whole environment." So I had that mentality going into the season because that was like a last year in Oakland. And yeah, Antonio Brown was like a lucrative guy, signed that year. And there's a lot of buzz around because he was the best receiver in the league at that time. And yeah, he saw me at the training camp.
And this was which training camp?
At the Raiders training camp in August, like early late September. I mean, so sorry, late July. So
Yeah.
when the beginning of his training camp, and he kind of looked at me and he saw what I was doing and he was like, "Hey, do you want to work for me?" Just straight up.
Straight up, man.
And I was
Wow.
like, "Yeah, sure." And then I gave him my contact info, and then
Yeah.
a few hours later, his agent like texted me, but like a very kind of weird text. And he was like, "Hey, like, what's your rate?" And I was like,
Just straight up.
"Yeah, straight up."
As agent, yeah, agency stuff, yeah.
So I'm like, okay, this guy just signed one of the most expensive deals in all receiver and all that, and he has a good value in media.
Correct.
So like he's one of the few like very active players who's all about content. So I was like, okay, he has like a really high demand for himself. So I'm gonna name that price. So I named it, and then
You
instantly,
made another entrepreneurial move.
basically,
So,
and
yeah.
then his agent said no,
Okay.
and he said, "What about $250 a week? $250 a week?" And
That's
I
it?
was like, I cannot survive
Yeah,
with
exactly.
that money. So I said no. And then 3-4 days later, I was like, kind of, oh, yeah, I had an opportunity to work with Antonio Brown, but I got to pay my rent. Like,
Exactly.
California's a little too expensive.
Yeah. $250 a week, man. That's like ramen.
was like
That's
nothing.
like UC Davis student days ramen, and
Yeah.
just like was it what do you call it, like microwavable rice and kimchi, probably, right?
Basically, I don't think you can afford that.
How could
yeah.
oh my, $250?
Yeah, so I said no. I kind of regret it at that time, but because it's Antonio Brown. And
Correct.
Hard Knocks happened to be filming the Raiders that year.
Oh,
So there's a lot of
okay.
behind the scenes moment.
Okay.
And then a couple days goes by. I see AB again. And he's not this time. He's driving out of the camp and he rolls down the window, sees me, calls me over. He was like, "Here's my address. Come tonight." And I was like, "Yo, I didn't even sign a deal with this guy. Like, what am I supposed to do?"
That's
and
funny.
thing was, he lived like 15 minutes away from me. So I was like, what's the harm of going there? So that night I showed up. I texted him, "I'll be there." He was like, "Bet." And then when he shows up, and yeah, from there the agent wasn't there, and
Okay.
but I found out that this guy lives in Connecticut. So like he's not gonna be there. So yeah, I just naturally started filming him. Like when I got there, he was working on his like shoulder workout. So I was like, sure. And I started capturing, and then we kind of started creating this bond with him. It wasn't that much of a time, but I got to see the human side of the NFL players for the first time.
Humanizing
Humanizing
athletes,
players.
humanizing people and their profession, I think is key.
Yeah, I think I'm always see them in practice field, but I never got to see them what are they like as a father or like anything like that. And yeah, Antonio was a cool dude. He had a little guest house where his chef was living, but had enough space for me to live into. So, and he was like, he gave me his practice schedule. He was like, "I want you to capture this and that." And I was like, damn, it's like 5 a.m. every day. Can I just sleep here?
Yeah.
So I naturally slept there.
Yeah.
And I wake up when he wakes up. And yeah, I mean, he was the best receiver at the time. And I could see why. Like, he had 5 different coaches. Like, he had hand-eye coordination coach, balance coach, strength and conditioning coach. Like, balance coach was kind of crazy to me, but it made sense how like acrobatic he is in terms of
Exactly.
catching. So the type of attention to detail that he was showing, I was in love. I was like, whoa, like fundamental, like
Super fundamental athlete specifics. It's the specifics that count as an athlete at a high level. That's how much they need to micromanage their body, but also mentally as well too.
yeah, and and he had this full chart of his diet, and he did this DNA test that he should not be consuming any salt,
Wow.
like things like that. So I was really close with his chef. So I was like, we became instant friends because I was also into cooking. So I was kind of learning from him.
That's amazing.
And got to the point where after like 2 weeks in, he really trusted me to the point where he's like, "Can you watch my kids real quick?" And him and his girlfriend just like goes for dinner. I'm just like, "All right, I'm just a babysitter." Yeah.
Wow.
And then he had 3 kids at that time, and yeah, like they were like 3-year-olds, 4-year-olds.
Uncle Joe.
Yeah, I was Uncle Joe.
Uncle Joe.
And one day Chef couldn't make it to the work, so like
Chef Joe.
yeah, they looked at me to cook, and I was like, "What the?" So I made this like really good steak and potatoes, and my biggest mistake was I added salt, not knowing. So yeah, I remember Antonio took a bite of the steak and was like, "Oh, sorry man, I cannot eat this. It has salt in it." And I was like, "Damn, it came in just not even cheat meal."
Exactly, right? That's how so in tune he is.
Yeah.
It's called discipline, right?
Yeah.
Highest level athletes, from my experience too, because I was not really disciplined, but I practiced hard. I thought I practiced harder than anybody.
Yeah.
That's next level discipline. 5 a.m. in the morning, like to micromanaging the salt value, to micromanaging the gram of the protein, right? That's crazy.
Yeah. So yeah, and then this is in the middle of the whole dispute going on with him and the Raiders.
Gotcha.
So this is kind of when he really turned into someone completely different than who he was. So yeah, it was all over the news.
Yeah.
Like Hard Knocks was trying to cover every aspect of it. Like if you watch the Hard Knocks Oakland series, I would say 4 of the episodes all about him.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like that's how much impact it was, and I was in the middle of it.
Yeah.
So I was able to see what's going on inside and outside. And I see why, as an athlete, it is kind of crazy how when you sit down and watch ESPN and Stephen A. Smith, who you never talk in person, talks about you like he knows everything about you.
Yeah.
Like I kind of see the whole insight of like what is it like to be an athlete in that level. It was crazy. So things went sour, but right before it went sour, he had a Labor Day weekend trip planned because like that's when all the NFL players kind of take a break. And he was like, he wanted to go to Cabo, but he didn't have his kid's passport ready. So he was like, "Where should I go?" And I was like, "Oh, you should go to Lake Tahoe. It's like, like 4-hour drive."
Yeah.
And he was like, "Oh, I'm not driving there." I was like, "Well, how do you get there then?" And then next thing I know, 2 hours later, we're flying private jet.
Has he paid you?
Oh, he paid me, by the way.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Good. All this time, I thought you were just doing it for free. Yeah. Stay in the extra room by the chef.
Here's the thing though. At that point, I was not getting paid. It was like 3 weeks.
Okay.
But he kind of gave me a verbal saying that I'm gonna take care of you. But I felt like I need to prove myself first to show him the final product.
Yeah.
So we went to Lake Tahoe together on a private jet. It was me, his family, chef, and one of his coaches. And then, yeah, it was like kind of a leisure time for him. And there were a lot of moments where it was just me and him. We were just like in the balcony watching the Hard Knocks that was going to air the next day. So it was about him. So we're just like watching it together, laughing. And then there was moments he was like, "Oh yeah, I gotta pay you," and I was like, "Oh, thank God." I was like, but truthfully though, until to get to that point, I was like, "What am I doing in my life right now?" Because like, I'm hanging out with Antonio Brown.
Correct. That's like nobody really gets access.
So
to
honestly,
that.
money wasn't really like top priority at that point.
And you were consistently on the go as well too.
But he was seeing my work. I was constantly taking photos and videos and all that.
Yeah, and being chef.
And
babysitter.
Yeah. But yeah, and then we locked down on a rate naturally.
Good.
And he said, "I'm going to pay you in cash." And I was
Sick.
like,
Absolutely.
yeah. So, because like weirdly, he didn't really communicate well with his agent at that time. So yeah, so he just cannot specify how much.
Do not do that.
But it was money that I felt like it was a little more than I expected.
That's good. It's
So
a good thing, right?
yeah. So I was like, okay, like he really took care of me.
He was a man of his word to you.
Yeah.
Yes.
Another funny story during that trip was his wife's birthday or girlfriend's birthday.
Okay.
And he was like, "Hey, what should I do?" And I'm like,
What do you mean? That's such an open-ended question. What should you do? That's his girl, right?
yeah. So I kind of gave him the idea. You know what? You should like cook breakfast for the family. Just have a family moment.
Yeah.
And that next morning, and he doesn't know how to cook, so we basically created the moment.
What do you mean by we? By cooking?
So me and the chef prepared a meal,
Yeah,
and then he did the presentation of like, hey, here's a meal.
Okay. Yeah.
So and I captured those moments. But yeah, so we were in that level of kind of closeness.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And it was like very brief. Like I basically worked with him for a month, but I got like a full first look of superstar athlete, and like it kind of gave me the vision almost through those times. I really enjoyed it. Like I'm trying to tell a human story.
Exactly.
But
Of course.
it definitely gave me the insight that, oh, we're all humans. He's just a human being just like me, my mom, my dad, my like friend. Like, he just happens to have more money. But
Yeah, and same problems. What should I do with my girlfriend? Like, Joe, Uncle Joe, psychologist Joe,
yeah.
photography Joe. Wow.
So yeah, I definitely had that moment where I'm like, oh yeah, humanizing player is like kind of a market where no one can really tell.
I know, and I think that's just fascinating because the access with it,
Yeah.
and humanizing somebody who's a very high performer is I think beyond storytelling, because it's an art. It's an absolute art, because you really need to get to know that person and exude every quality that he is, right? That's just really fascinating. So how did you exit, and where did you go then?
So it was really stressful towards the end.
What you said, a month and a half?
A little
bit over a
like
month
5
and a half?
weeks.
About 5
Yeah.
weeks. So 5 weeks got really intimate.
Yeah.
And then you had to go.
But it was just things went sour. He had a lot of trouble with the Raiders.
Yeah.
Like he didn't even play a snap of the game. Like it was right before the season, and then later he got cut from the team.
Dang.
But he also had different videographer that he's been working in the past with this agency, whom I'm still good friends with. Then at that moment, I was kind of like conflicted because I still represent the Oakland Raiders, so I need to go back to the team because I was playing neutral the whole time.
Correct. Yes.
And then, yeah, later on, he was like, "Hey, I'm moving to Boston," because he signed with the Patriots, and he was like, "I know you live here," and I was like, "Hey, like, best of luck to you. I cannot go."
Yeah.
And yeah, I stayed, and then he went on, and then he played for like 3 games, and he got cut with some other personal dispute, and everything went downhill from that point in terms of his like who he is. But people see him as a crazy guy right now. I mean, he's been kind of going all over the place, but I got to witness his human side, and a lot of those like moments I reflect on, and I'm like, yeah, I mean, he was a human.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Regardless of the results that has happened to him, but I'm glad you got that experience. I'm sure it was eye opening for your next career path. So you were back with the Oakland Raiders, right?
Yeah.
Then after the Oakland Raiders, what happened?
So I was working with MLB.
How did you get that?
As a part-timer at that time through Raiders. So when I joined the Raiders, I met this guy. His name is Lucas Stevenson. We joined Raiders at the same time with the same type of job. He also was a photographer. And it was just 2 of us. And he worked with us for a year, and then he went to NFL. And then he's from LA, so he naturally turned into baseball, and then he worked for MLB, and then he moved to New York for the job. And
that's the head office.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he moved there in 2018, I believe, or 2019, and then we just kept in touch. And then he's like, "Hey, we need a shooter. Do you want to work for us part time, like in California?" So I was like, "Sure." So like there are times where I was just capturing like random Dodgers game, Oakland A's game, San Francisco Giants game, just to kind of just make extra money.
Gotcha.
As a part-time shooter, and I didn't know anything about baseball at that time.
Right. Because everything was just about football then. So
yeah, I was a huge on football, not baseball.
Yeah. So Lucas Stevenson
Yeah.
gave you the opportunity to work as a freelancer for MLB shooting the Dodgers.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then yeah, and then I was keep doing that until pandemic hit. And my tentative plan was to, oh, maybe I should just move to Vegas with the team because that's when the team made a full transition. But yeah, Lucas kind of gave me an opportunity. He was like, hey, do you want to like work for MLB? Because I was doing a lot of videos for them at that time, like as an editor. And I think I made a decision within like an hour. I was like, let's do it.
Yeah.
And
Time to
then
hit home runs, man. Yeah.
2 days later, I was in New York.
That's wow.
So it was like,
What made you want to have that click moment?
I think I was like, oh, this opportunity would not come.
What opportunity did Lucas give it to you, or did somebody else?
Lucas gave it to me. Yeah.
Okay. And how did that come about then?
So he was like, we need extra people in New York. I cannot guarantee you that I'll give you a full-time job. We can give you a full-time job, but there's an opportunity to at least like, get into like the headquarters and work for us.
Yeah. Holy shit.
So I was like, and this is like before live content was a thing
Yeah.
in all sports. So I was like, yeah, sure, why not? And I made that decision, and then I ended up like
Did you pack up your bags?
packed up my bags, just 2 suitcases, and flew to New York.
You left everything behind.
Basically, yeah.
For a part-time gig
Yeah.
to hopefully make it to the MLB to get a full-time job.
Yeah.
Right?
So it was a big risk.
Yeah.
But it was also like right after pandemic, or kind of towards the end phase of pandemic, where vaccine wasn't a thing at that time, but it was slowly developing. So like the world is kind of coming back. So I was like, yeah, why not? So I just packed my stuff, moved there, and then the moment I got there, it was just straight up like into the fire, because that's when
Explain that.
because that's when baseball was coming back in full force.
Yes.
So, and this is like very thick of Black Lives Matter movement. And funny enough, they made me make all this like social justice campaign video to represent MLB. And to me, that was like a big thing for me because I was very like, growing up in Oakland.
Correct.
Like,
Yeah.
I see the value in diversity and everything. So I was like, oh, and like, I'm like, whoa, I have an opportunity to really tell story.
Yes, exactly.
So yeah, I was working on big projects like that. And the first year, me being there, I was grinding as a part-timer, editing videos. And then a week before the All-Star game, I get a message and they're like, hey, we need to make a brand spot for Ohtani. And this is when Ohtani was really hot.
This is amazing. Please dive into this as detailed as possible, please.
So I was given 3 days to make this edit to show how dual threat of he is, to celebrate that he can pitch and and this is his Angels days.
Yes, this is when he first entered the league?
This is when right before his first MVP season.
MVP season. Okay, got you.
So
okay, and they wanted you to document all that.
It's more like I had to edit within the 3 days, but with the like existing footage.
I got you. So they gave you
Yeah, so they gave me the concept and everything. So I was just like grinding, and I was like, they're really making part-timer to make this video. At the same time, I see how they trusted me.
I actually was going to ask you that question, because like Ohtani is the god of baseball right now. He's the face of MLB, and he gave it to a part-time editor, right?
Yeah, it was like a very last-minute campaign.
But brand campaigns are hugely important because you have to represent the brand, right? You have to, and also MLB, but also Ohtani. You got to put all three together.
Yes, but it was also like pandemic times too. So I think there was like a lot of like limited resources and everything. But yeah, I made I thought it was social cut at first. So I made a video, and then it's on TV. And I'm just like, oh, I made that video.
Yeah, that's amazing.
So yeah, people trusted me to make videos like that. So I was like, oh. And then, yeah, looking back, and I'm just all these big moments of MLB from that point, I was always there.
If you don't mind me asking, what were those big moments that, well, for example, you just edited a video and it was on TV. What were some other moments like that? We're like, oh, that's me. And I work for MLB part-time as an editor.
Yeah. No, I think So Lucas Stevenson, who's my best friend, he kind of gave me all these opportunities. So like World Series, 2021 World Series was my first time.
Oh my gosh.
And
Amazing.
I was in the best seat in the house. Like
Oh.
as MLB, you want the best shooter to be in the best place to capture the best moment. And when Jorge Soler hit that game-winning home run,
Former KC Royal.
big guy, and against the Astros, like, and that was the first time Braves won. And yeah. There's one moment
So you captivated that.
I was able to capture the moment. So let me give you a breakdown of what we do in live content.
Okay, please do.
And this team is very talented group of people. We have around over 75 to 80 content creators around the country, at least two people per ballpark. And our job is to capture every moment that broadcast camera can't capture. So we have a spot and photo wall where it's around the stadium. And let's say Aaron Judge hits a home run. That video that we capture is going to be ending up on our social media within 3 to 4, like 5 minutes.
I see. So who manages that?
So our social team manages that, but live content team is one that's specialized in capturing those moments.
So you manage the capturing moments.
Yeah.
And then it gets approved to social media or the other outlets.
Yes. So I think now I guess I can the Gandalf of this team in terms of my experience.
Yeah.
I feel Gandalf in a way, but at the same time, I had a humbling moment where when I said I'm like a Gandalf to you guys to group meeting, a lot of people didn't know who Gandalf was because they're all born.
Stuff.
Because they're all born in 2002.
Yeah. Right.
It's a very young group of
Lord of the
talented.
Rings. If you didn't know, you Gen Zers. Lord of the Rings. Yeah.
So yeah, I use my production knowledge from what I've learned through running my own agency. I mean, like a production company or working in production. Now I'm kind of changing certain things to make a hybrid role, and that fits into a live content team.
Got you.
So yeah, so that's what we operate. So every game, especially like World Series, we have to be that person that capture for MLB, like for our partners, for anyone in general. So a lot of the commercial spots that you see, it's all from our live content team.
Amazing.
It's a big operation.
Yeah.
And the volume of the game is too crazy.
Of course.
We have over 2,300 games a year. There's so many home runs. There were so many big moments. Like NFL or NBA, like they all try to do what we do. And in a way, like you can't really compare both because we cover a game every day compared to once a week.
The volume is uncomparable, exponential.
Yeah, so it's really kind of like an everyday, day-to-day operations, and requires a lot of traveling, requires a lot of kind of feedback, because you need to give feedback because everyone captures differently.
Yeah.
So we have to groom them into something that we want, and these are mostly kind of just out of college, trying to find a path into sports. So now I have the privilege to kind of mentor them or kind of give them like a pathway, but at the same time I think it's kind of generational thing where everyone's just so talented, especially with all the resources they have compared to my days.
right So you see that. So what do you see the difference between videography, how you learned, than the new school?
I think
the Gen Zers.
Yeah, it's been years ago. Yeah.
I know, right?
I mean, everyone's self-taught, including myself, but I think in terms of access and everything, I feel like if I were to trying to get the same access back in my day around that time frame, it would be a lot harder. So they definitely have more resources to work with, but I think when it comes to finding the true color or true color as in the art of how you see, how your perception and everything, that has to come from your experience more than anything.
Absolutely.
Like, you can shoot the pretty thing, but at the same time, like, it's not really about shooting the pretty things. It's all about capturing the soul. Like
Absolutely.
Yes. And
so that's what you look for.
That's what I look
for everybody in your team, or who you're prospecting as a photographer or a videographer. Right? You look for, is he able to capture that soul, or am I able to manicure out of him?
Yes.
Yeah, got you. And you said worldwide, how many people do you have under your team?
We have around like 75 just for the major league level.
on the major league level.
Yeah.
Right. That's not including minor league, right?
So we started a minor league program now.
Oh
So
my
now we're in
God,
different
just
markets.
huge.
Yeah. So we're constantly growing team. But we just have so many different sectors now too.
Mhm.
It's not just like games that we're covering. We have a team called player engagement, which we work with players directly with them. So like good example is like, you know, we ask like one of the players like, hey, like I want to go on a trip back to my home, like motherland, and I want to tell a story. Then we'll pair up with one of our producers with them through so they can tell off the field moments.
Oh, that's awesome.
Which is rare in baseball because it's such a short off season.
Yes, and is that under your program?
It's so our program is in charge of capturing those moments.
Oh, that's awesome. So let's just transition from, gosh, there's so much stuff we got to talk about, bro. So we have to do a round 2 sometime later.
Yeah.
So now you just said life off the field, right? So Joe, and you told me it's worldwide, right? You have people worldwide. What's your project now for capturing players off the field and internationally?
Yeah. So I've been given a new role for this season, which was just put it in a way where my job is to humanize players. And that mission was like a big for me. That's what I wanted the whole time. And I finally have it. And I'm really touching up on my Korean side, with my familiarity with the Korean culture and everything. And with WBC coming up, which is like it is the biggest baseball tournament, international baseball tournament out there. It is
World
our World
Baseball
Cup.
Classic for those of you who don't know.
And last tournament was huge success to the point where we're like, oh, right, let's double up on how we're going to storytell these players, not just when they're on the field, but also let's touch their culture, their heritage, like their pride for their nation. So like,
Absolutely.
yeah, so I'm working on a project right now to tell Korean players. And I was also lucky enough to work with several Korean players in the major league. Me being bilingual, I was able to kind of
Facilitate
create
that as
opportunity.
well too, of course.
So yeah, I have worked with Ha-Sung Kim a lot.
Nice.
And I'm trying to tap into Chung Lee and Hae-Sung Kim. So I think with my knowledge of Korean, like I've identified those 3 players as like kind of like a future of Korean baseball.
Gotcha.
So I'm like, how do I tell that story while trying to tell a Korean side of the story?
Yeah.
I don't think I can just show Kabuksun and people will understand.
Of
right?
course, right? And to be honest, on those cultural aspects, people like you need to be in that role. Absolutely.
So it's not just like based on research, but it's coming from the experience, right?
Correct. Experience and culture. Yes.
So yeah, I kind of identified 3 different emotions. And funny thing is, I will I would make sure I check in with my parents because my dad's like, yeah, like that's very Korean. Like I had to kind of like cross check, but
Like an example.
So yeah, I came up with the concept of Han, Hung, and Chung.
For those who don't know, can you please break that down?
Yeah, so I think those are 3 emotions. It's almost like concept of yin and yang, because life is duality. That's how I kind of perceive life. And Han is uniquely Korean in a way. It's a sense of injustice that people felt throughout the history of colonization and all these invasions we experience, but also personal kind of like it's kind of like a nemesis that you have that you want to kind of prove things wrong. So it's kind of like an energy source. So it could be perceived as negative, but at the same time, opposite of that is Chung. That's also uniquely Korean expression that's beautiful in my eyes. And
Yeah, can you break that down for us, please?
so if I have to break it down, like in terms of very metaphorically, it's
Yes,
kind of like a
yes.
building block that people have.
Correct. Yes.
So like some people have, when people say, oh, you have a lot of Chung, that usually means you just have a lot to give.
Yes.
And then when you say 청을 쌓는다, that usually means you're building that bond with someone. And I think it's a very beautiful metaphor, or beautiful word, because like, 청,
It's an expression of life.
exactly,
Yeah.
and sense of community, which Koreans are really prideful about.
Mm-hmm.
And then hung is kind of like a sense of movement, sense of kind of excitement, sense of kind of joy. And I think you can see that through K-pop And Korean, like, it's a sense of like a movement as not just physical movement, but also a sense of just kind of like a movement as like a culturally like, it's kind of like an energy. It's like a
Yes.
synergy of kind of joy. And I feel like those three Korean players that I mentioned all kind of
Represent that.
represent that.
Each,
Yeah.
right? Or all together.
All together. I think everyone has
Perfect.
those moments.
Yes, absolutely.
And they're all beloved by their respective team. They all have their own chants.
Correct.
They're all three very flashy and known for their hustle play.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm like trying to incorporate that into the storytelling. So I'm planning on trying to work on a off-season project with them.
Wow. I look forward to definitely watching the final product.
Yeah, I mean, there are a lot of hurdles to go through, but at the same time, I don't think anyone can come up with this type of concept knowing that I'm the only Korean in that
organization,
kind of,
right?
yeah, or in that department
Yes.
where,
Yes.
creating stories.
Yes.
So yeah, it's very empowering as a Korean American to really, like, this is the culture that is who I am.
Absolutely.
And like seeing that, and Dodgers recently clinched and they took a group photo, and it was Yoshinobu Yamamoto, Hae-sung Kim, Roki Sasaki, and
Yes.
Shohei Ohtani, all four of them together.
Yeah.
And
That's
I don't
great.
know why, but I like love that photo.
I love that photo too.
And I'm like thinking, and I'm like, this is by far the most like player you have in a single club. That is not just like they're all like starting level player that making big impact.
Big impact, and they're all Asian.
They're all Asian.
Yes.
Yeah. And it is empowering. Like,
is
to
very
see
empowering.
that, and me being able to humanize those players
Exactly.
is kind of like oh wow, like the timing is just perfect.
Yeah, and what's great is that you get to humanize those players, and from your background, understanding duality, understanding the art of storytelling through your parents, your grandfather, and your sports background. With Oakland Raiders, now you get to put that all together, all your passions all together, and that photo kind of represents that. And what you're doing right now, being only the Korean American, I guess, in your department, right? It must be, I would get a sense of empowerment and excitement instead of nervousness or anxiety. How do you manage actually that when you have an exciting project like this?
Yeah, no. I love my coworkers, but when I joined early on, especially when the whole social justice movement was going on, like, I looked at the Zoom call because that was the Zoom days, and it was like about 20 to 30 people, big call, and I was only people of color. Like, and when I see that, and I'm like, whoa, like, me being here is important. And I didn't really see that as a pressure or anything. It's just more like it was just empowered me. I feel like all this experience that I've gained through my freelance journey, whether I was doing free work or just kind of traveling around to gain different perspective in life and empathy, now I get to fully display that into the whole like platform where it is uniquely very American. It's it is arguably the oldest sports league in the world, right?
Yeah.
And it is predominantly very kind of, I mean, it is very Americana, but at the same time, like, it was one of the first sports to kind of demolish the wall of racism.
Correct.
And all this like racial barriers. So like me having to be able to tell that storytelling at a very peak of storytelling in this social media world, like, yeah, it was just empowering, and I was very excited, and I think that's where I just put my heart and soul into, and I was constantly feeling burnout and everything, but at the same time I was like, oh yeah, this is like good burnout.
Yeah, absolutely.
And just grinded my way through. So
Good. So, the future for you now, Joe. What is one quiet truth you can tell us about the future for MLB and your contents going forward?
Yeah, I think my quiet truth is it needs to not be quiet anymore in terms of my Korean identity.
Love it.
I think growing up, like, my biggest fear was kind of being different. This is before the K-pop days, before this whole empowerment days. But the more projects I work on, and like the more level of like commitment I make with this organization, I'm learning that like my present is very beneficial, but also very important. So especially this time frame of baseball, where there's still about 6% of baseball players are Asian
Correct.
heritage, and I'm like, how do I break that barrier, and how do I increase that? But it also like try to show like human side of them. What is it like? And there's so many challenges. And one
Correct.
thing that I'm looking forward to is like whenever I work with like Korean players, one of the common things is that their life is very lonely as living in a foreign country. You know, like can't really hang out in a clubhouse without the translator, right? So how do I tell their story?
Those are the quiet truths that people don't know about.
Yeah,
The struggles of being an international player who cannot speak the language, but the sport is so globalized. Yes.
yeah. So I think that, and we claim that it is global sports, right? Like baseball, with you know over 30% of players are Latin players.
Exactly.
So I think my mission is to really humanize Asian players through my platform, but also through my heritage and experience.
I love that, man. I love that a lot. A couple more questions.
Yeah.
What's another quiet truth you would like to tell future creators who are coming up with almost a similar story for yourself? What would you tell them?
I think I see this a lot through my creative journey, but also seeing my team's journey, especially the people that works in a live content team, is like they all kind of have their own version of Han, where something they want to prove, something they want to kind of excel in. That's kind of like one of the main reasons why it's easy to compare with other people, and kind of creates that barrier within your potential in my eyes. There are 3 words that really liberated me through my kind of creative, but also just personal journey, is that like almost like it doesn't matter. Those 3 words, like it's as simple as it is, like, you know, it just really just breaks that mold that you're in, because like nothing has to be perfect. Like it's not about being perfect.
Correct.
It's really about doing the things that makes you happy, but also help you grow.
Correct. And that's the beauty of life and art. That's exactly, especially what you do too. Awesome. Love it. One more. All right. What's a quiet truth that you would love to produce yourself? Not just for the Korean Han, but for yourself. What would be a quiet truth for yourself? What would you like to produce?
Just in terms of like content, or just like in general?
In general.
In life. Ooh.
Because the reason why I'm asking that,
Yeah.
we're going to loop back around to your grandfather,
Yeah.
right? Man, what a great story. You know, he was musically talented, right? Loved his wife, dropped it, went to law school, right? Became the first innovator of film in Korea and with musicals, right? He did passion. All he did was just pursue his passion. What is your passion now? What would you like to do with outside the MLB? What is you?
Yeah. I mean, that's what I struggle, because like my passion is my job in a way, right? Like I love storytelling, what I do, but I think I just gotta like, I don't know, I'm trying to phrase it, but
You can just take some time to think about
Yeah.
it.
I think I was privileged enough to see the world, like, and it's kind of like an addiction where you want to see more and more and more, but also want to know what it's like to be in one place for a long time. It's almost like settle, because like my life storyline wise, it's always constantly moving, switching schools, moving to a different area, not having a sense of home for a couple of years, living out of like places.
That's crazy.
And yeah, New York is in my adulthood, it's by far the longest place that I've stayed. And although I'm staying, I'm also traveling for work, right? But for me, it's like, in order to have a true identity, I got to have the community.
Correct.
And at times you can say you can make community through like online relationship, like all that. But I think physically being in one place is also very important.
Correct. Yes. Community you build around you, your support, personal support crew.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
your friends. Yeah.
I think that's what I'm trying. That's will be my next kind of like a quiet truth that I want to find out.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And now with a guy like you with the ambitions as yourself, the entrepreneurial spirit within the artwork and, exuding the human side of people and, capturing soul. And I truly believe you're going to find that organically. So Joe, wish you the best. Thank you so much for coming on this show, literally randomly. 2 days you called me before. Thank you. Thank you so much for coming in from Incheon to here. I really appreciate you, Joe.
No, thank you.
All
Thank
right.
you for the opportunity.